Knees and toes.
Does shoulders have to do with anything?
Because of what you did to my bold prediction. Yes, I'm taking this too far, but I don't care. We're
The
going.
noise is great for those who are audio only. What's up, everyone, and welcome into a special edition of the Buffalo Sports Collective for my first interview and the first time hosting an episode. Our special guest that gets to go through the trial and error process with me today is none other than Zack Belter. Thank you for joining the show, and how are you doing?
Doing good. Thanks for having me on.
No problem. Thanks for being here. So we don't need to get into specifics, but you were held out of Game 1 due to an injury. How are you currently feeling?
Doing good. Something just been nagging me a little bit throughout training camp, and I was planning on playing in Game 1, but throughout game week, myself, coaches, and medical staff just thought it was better, especially with the bye this week. Gives me an extra 2 weeks to get ready for Halifax, and I'm already feeling really good. It was good to practice last night and get out there with the guys. So we're just looking forward to Halifax.
Nice. Speaking of Game 1, what did you think of Brett Dobson going in the in the penalty box?
Oh yeah, it was pretty wild. Ian took one for the team there, and then Shanny came in and did well for them on the penalty kill. But I guess Dobson wasn't supposed to go into the box, not the league saying. So, but yeah, that was definitely a first. I've never seen that before, and so yeah, that was interesting.
All right, we will go back to the start of your playing career. You were one of the only few Bandits that grew up locally. What can you tell us about growing up playing lacrosse in Wheatfield and how you got into lacrosse in general?
Yeah, so I started playing on the Tuscarora Reservation, and obviously went to Niagara Wheatfield. Guys like Darius Rich, Travis Kilgore. All of them were from the Tuscarora Reservation and went to Niagara Wheatfield. So those were always guys I've looked up to and kind of wanted to make it to the level that they were at, and getting to play for Darius a couple summers ago, was the privilege of a lifetime. I've gotten to learn so much from him, and remain close with all three of them. So, yeah.
All right. Well, we'll keep it local. The draft process. How did that go for you? What was it like getting drafted in the first round? Did you expect to go that high? And again, by Buffalo, which must have been pretty cool.
Yeah, it was cool. It was definitely like stressful. You're not really sure. You go through the conversations with general managers and coaches, and you kind of have an idea of where you think you're going, but then you sometimes get mixed signals, and you never know how a draft can play out. But Randy Mearns, was our coach at St. Bonaventure at the time, and he was really helpful, throughout that process, and obviously, getting me to a level where I can compete in the NLL. So he helped a lot and kind of made that process a lot easier. And we had, I think, 6 Bonaventure guys get drafted that day, which was great for the program. And that was something Coach Mearns really pushed, was getting guys with big dreams that want to be a professional lacrosse player, and guys like Brett Dobson and Sean Wesley, to name a couple. But yeah, once you hear your name called, and it's Buffalo, it was surreal. It was a dream come true. You never know how those things are going to play out, but definitely worked out, and I was just pumped to get an opportunity to compete for a job.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome experience for you, and just being able to be drafted by Buffalo has got to be pretty cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
You started your career a bit banged up. The first time we actually met, you were sitting out in the press box. I believe you were injured at the time, and I was in the press box, just doing my media thing, and you and I actually chatted most of the game, which
Yeah.
was pretty cool for me. It was a fun experience, but you finally got into a game. Your career's really taken off since then. But what was it like when you first got that chance, especially starting your career a little bit injured, when you first got that big opportunity to get into a game?
Yeah, I hurt it. I hurt my ankle that summer, I believe it was, and it was pretty bad. I'd never really, dealt with it, dealt with an ankle injury of that caliber. Um, so I wasn't really sure what the timeline was going to be, and I was just preparing for camp, and like training camp comes, and you're like, oh dear God, my ankle's in no position to play right now. Um, but our medical staff helped me to get ready and feel comfortable with it, and but then it was a matter of okay, when am I gonna get an opportunity to play in a game, and you just have to stay ready and always prepare, regardless of your situation. And JT came up to me and shoot around that day and was like, "You're in," and I was like, there was kind of like a bunch of guys in line and like a warm up drill, and I like looked at like Justin Martin. I'm like, was he talking to me? Like, I hope he was talking to me. I'm ready to go, but like I wasn't sure. I was like, all right, I'm putting a jersey on tonight. And yeah, we played Albany, and it was cool. I was excited. I felt prepared, and obviously, a very veteran team. A lot of guys gave me a lot of good advice. Going into that game, so I felt pretty confident and did pretty well.
I mean, we'll skip around a little bit with these questions and go back
Yeah.
to something in the future, but kind of what you're just talking about there. Who on the team or in the sport is someone that you've looked up to and has really kind of helped your development through the first 2 years?
Oh wow. I mean, it's it's tough to like narrow that down because we have so many great leaders and we have so many guys with so much experience. You look at our team and like we have three captains, but there might be eight other guys that could be a captain, on any other team in the league,
Yeah.
and wear a letter. Um, so yeah, that's really tough to narrow down. Obviously, like the guys who live in Buffalo that I spend a lot of time around, like Dane and Josh and Ian and Chase and Chris when they were here, all really helped me get like the routine down of like the weekly routine of a pro player. And I'm still learning so much from those guys. And but then like obviously defensively you have Vino and Paulie and Weiser and Pre and Justin Martin and Spanger, and now we have Moose from last year. Um, and the thing that I think makes our team special is that they're all very different types of leaders. Kyle Buchanan. So I may ask Dane one thing, but I may ask Paulie or Pri another, or Weiser another. So yeah, it's really hard to like narrow down, just because it's wild. Because I've never been in a different situation, but I know guys on other teams don't have that privilege
Yeah.
of having realistically 10 plus guys that could wear a letter. Um, so yeah, it's always great to, even in year three for me, to continue to have those guys to answer any questions, give me advice.
Who do you think you learn more from, the incredible offense that's on that team or the incredible defense that's on that team?
Oh wow. Um, it depends on the situation. Like I like asking, the offensive guys, like, hey, here was my thought process when you did that. What were you thinking, or what are you
Okay.
seeing from your point of view? And then like a guy like Dane can like kind of, who I go against in practice a lot, being a lefty D guy and a righty O guy, he can kind
Okay.
of explain his thought process. But in the film room, like our defensive guys, who have played 10, 15, 20 years, really are helpful when it comes to like scouting. And it's like, oh, Vino's played against this guy for fit, Paulie, Pre, all those guys have played against these offensive players, for 15 years. So like there's no surprises to them, and the getting to be in that film room and hear their 2 cents, and obviously like our coaches, Chugger and Cosmo on the D side have seen a lot of lacrosse. So yeah, there's a lot of knowledge in our locker room, to say the least. So it's a blessing to be able to learn from.
So something you might not be able to prepare for with film or asking anybody. You had your career fight last year, and I don't know if it went exactly how you pictured it, but we've heard Gash's sides of things from a different podcast. Honestly, it was pretty nice that you guys had a pretty nice talk about it afterwards. But what was that experience like for you, standing up for your teammates, and then just that whole kind of situation?
Yeah, I mean that's really what it is. It's he's a physical player, and he's obviously very big and strong, and he had a pretty big hit on Chase, and regardless of if it was clean, dirty, penalty or not, like Chase is one of our guys, so like I was the closest one there, and I wanted to jump in, and there's not really a lot of I guess thought that goes into it other than like
Right.
that's my guy, that's my brother, and yeah, obviously the fight didn't go as planned, and he threw a good punch, and that was kind of it. But yeah, like I agree, he was respectful after, and it's a rivalry, and I'm sure it's going to happen again at some point. And but the cool thing for me was to see like the respect you kind of earn from your teammates, knowing that you have their back, and like obviously I know they have mine. So um, you know regardless of who got hit, or which bandits guys were in that situation, like I know we would all do that for each other. So that's kind of what makes our team very close, and a special group.
Yeah, not to throw any other teams under the bus, but the Sabres have been looking for players like that for a long time, and we've seen plenty of run-ins that they've had the last couple of years watching them, where somebody will get hit and everyone just kind of looks around and nobody really does much of anything. So good on you to be able to step into that situation, and like you said, there's no thought behind it, which is really cool to see that there's an instant reaction to go and defend your guy. Like, not everybody can do that, and not everybody's willing to do that. So it's cool to see that the team's that close to do that.
Yeah.
So in your 2 years so far, you have known nothing but success and championships, where some players have gone their whole careers, and really brilliant careers. I mean, you look at Banesh on the team this year. He's one of the like top 5 in so many categories, but doesn't have that championship yet. What's it like to start your career with back-to-back championships? And again, not really, obviously you've been through plenty of adversity, but not knowing anything else so far in your career.
Yeah, I think I was fortunate enough to be drafted into a championship caliber team. You got to give credit to the people who have built the Bandits to what it is, right? Obviously the staff with JT and Chugger and Cosmo and Eric Vince and Dan Teat and all those guys. But like the players as well. Like, when I look at the Bandits, like obviously the Bandits were built in the 90s, with Darris and Rich and Veltman and JT and Mernsey and all those guys. And like they kind of started it all. And then, you have the early 2000s where, Billy D's years where they won. And I feel like you know, the start of this era, starts with, drafting Dane and Pre and bringing in Weiser and those guys who have been here for, you know, 12, 15 years now. And like, that's
Yeah.
kind of that was kind of the first bricks that you laid. And, over time throughout the draft, and, teams change every year. Um, they, and then they lost a few championship or a couple championships, and I feel like those guys that were on those teams going through, those losses, they learned how to win. So like, a young guy like me, like, didn't have to go through that. So like, we were privileged enough to like just step into a team where guys know how to win, and it's up to us, to buy into a role and do whatever it takes for the team. So you got to give credit to the guys that built this thing into what it is.
As a younger player, is it intimidating being drafted into a championship ready team and knowing like going into playoffs in that first year or even the second year, like that this team, their goals are truly championship or bust, whereas other teams might, draft a high talent, but they're just building it from the start. Like you were drafted, like you said, drafted into a team that's ready. Is it kind of intimidating and a little bit scary being drafted into a team that's so championship ready?
I see what you're saying. Like, I think you don't, when the team wins the year before you get there, you're like, oh my God, I don't want to screw anything up
Right,
here.
exactly. Yep.
But like, yeah, I don't know. It definitely is, but you also like that's why you play the game, for that pressure. Like, you want to play in
Yep.
the game 3 like this past year. What a dream come true to even just suit up for a game 3, in a professional sports game. That's kind of what you live for. Um, yeah. So the pressure is good. I don't know. I'm getting off track here.
You're all right.
Yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't want it any other way. Yeah.
That works. That works.
Yeah.
Let's see. So, being like obviously being part of such a successful team, when you guys do have a rough patch, I think it was not last year, the year before. So your first year where they hit that patch where they really weren't looking good, they were under 500 for the first time in a long time, and things not really were falling apart. I don't think anyone was too panicked, but it was a unusual rough patch for this team, especially over the last 5 years, going to the championships 5 straight time. What is it like in the locker room as a teammate when you guys really hit those kind of tough parts of the season? Again, being a team that has had so much success, like what is it like when you guys are down a little bit?
Yeah. That was my rookie year, right?
Yep,
Where we
I
were
think
below
so. Yep.
500. Yeah. Um, yeah. I think even last year too. Like, we started off maybe like 7 or 8-0, and
Yep.
then I think we were like in our next 8 games we were like 500.
Yep.
So I think you kind of just have to block out the noise. Like, you know, last year people were saying when we were undefeated, like, "Oh my God, the Bandits are never gonna lose. This team's unbelievable." Like, and then we start losing a few games, like in that second stretch, and it's like, okay, they're a bust, and like it's all poison. It's all, Nick Saban talks about rat poison. You can't listen to any of that. You just kind of have to focus on each week at a time, and I think we've just gotten hot at the right times, and when you need to win those big games, like we have those big time players that obviously have been in these situations that um, like Albany had a young team a couple of years ago in the finals. Like, they weren't as prepared as
Right.
our veteran guys, and then that comforted the young guys. And then Saskatchewan last year, like, first time in the finals in a few years. So that championship experience, that our veterans have is crazy. And even for the young guys now, we have guys who've played, young guys who aren't even 25 that have played in a couple championships. So
Right.
I feel like you kind of learn to manage the highs and lows of the season, and JT, like, always stresses us not getting complacent, when we are doing well. And obviously motivating us, when we need a big win and need to get back on track too.
So, speaking of the highs and lows, for you personally, there's been a few times last year that you were a healthy scratch or you might have had an injury. What are those situations like as a player? When obviously you want to be out there every single game, helping your team. And if you have to take that situation, what is it like mentally for a player to kind of go through that?
Yeah, I think, regardless of your situation, you just try and get better each week. Like obviously, if you are in that position, or where you are watching from the press box for whatever the reason may be, like it's tough. You always want to have pads on and battle with your teammates. You want to see the team win. That's obviously the goal, regardless of anything else. But it hurts to see the team lose if you're watching in the press box, and you want to be out there helping the guys. But yeah, regardless, the coaches make decisions based on what's best for the team, and that's what the players want too.
Yeah, I remember being in the press box a few times. We try to stay as neutral as we can when we're up there. So it's hard to take the fan out of myself when I'm up there and try to remain calm no matter what's happening. But
Yeah,
it's always cool to see all the players on the right. And well, again, when you were up there, just seeing you guys have all the passion and seeing you like kind of living the game through you guys as teammates, watching
yeah,
everybody on the field going through the ups and downs of the games. I think they won the one where you were sitting next to me, but it was super close. I think it was like maybe a 1 goal game and came down to like the last goal, and just seeing all the emotion next to us is really cool to see you guys kind of react to everything going on a lot more than just a fan would.
yeah,
But
yeah. It's an emotional game, and it's easier to control, I think, when you're playing. When you don't have control, it's kind of like coaching. Like I've learned, coaching over, the last few years, at different levels. And, I freak myself out because, like, you can't do anything. Like,
right.
it comes down to players making plays, and, you want to go out there and put pads on, but you just can't.
So we'll go back to the championship super quick. Is there any moment, a play, whether it's a celebration, whether it's during playoffs, is there anything in the first 2 years that you've been there, part of these playoff runs, part of these championships that really sticks out to you or something you really remember from those situations?
Oh, boy.
Yeah, I didn't have you prepare for this one. I'm sorry.
Um, Big moments in the playoffs. I mean, like the
Too
first one
many.
that comes to mind is Josh scoring an OT against Georgia. That's the first one that comes to mind. Because like I felt like OT went on for a little bit,
Yep.
and it's a best of one. So it's do or die, and like they have goal scorers over there too, right? Like they have Lyle, they have Shane Jackson, those guys, and for Josh to bang the shot, it's like, oh yeah, that's our guy. Like we're you just feel so confident moving forward that, like, when you got guys that can hit those big game shots. Other moments, I'm trying to think. Playoffs this year, like the first game, like Matt Vance, obviously, against San Diego. I think it was 5-4, I want to say, if I remember
Yeah, pretty
correctly.
much
Like,
5-3. Like the fourth goal
nuts.
came within like the last minute.
Yeah, so like that stands out, like seeing him, just be a cheat code out there. And then I think, the next one I'd say is Klutch playing in game 3, on that bad ankle. Like, I don't know. I still don't know how he did it, but for him to not only play and, like, I want to say he had 3. I want to say he had a hat trick
I
and
think
like
so.
some
Yeah, he
big
he had a
goals
real
in
good
game
game. Yeah.
3, and like you like that, him playing that way like affected the rest of us, because like, oh my God, this guy's a warrior, and he's out there, on one leg, like, doing everything he can, setting picks, fighting for loose balls, um, and scoring his shots too.
Yeah, I think it might have been the first championship against Colorado where I think Byrne was out in either game one and two, or at least two, and I think he had a concussion or some
Yeah,
injury. It might have
yeah,
been
that
an
rings
ankle
a
as
bell.
well. Yeah, and he came back in that game three, and same thing, just lit it up. And like you said, like I can imagine you guys just seeing what that player's going through and what they're willing to do for the team, and just how much it has. You guys can rally around not just the game itself, but a player in that
Yeah,
situation, especially with you having had an ankle injury for Kluch and knowing what that might feel like.
yeah, for sure.
So this year, you lost Justin Martin to retirement, and shortly after that was announced, Dietrich pulls a rabbit out of his hat and pulls Mitch DeSnew in a big trade. What is it like, kind of losing? I know you haven't had a lot of time, obviously, with DeSnew, who just got to the team, hasn't even probably had too many practices, but losing a guy like Justin Martin, one of the best shutdown defenders in the game, let alone on the team, and then adding a player like Mitch DeSnew, who's been known as one of like a top five defender in the league. What's it like, kind of losing one and gaining one in that situation?
Yeah, it was tough to see Marty go. Like, he's another guy, like, when we talk about leaders, like, for myself personally, like, he's never a guy that's standing up and giving a speech in the locker room, but him being the veteran, like, left-handed defenseman, was so helpful to guys like me, Cam, and Dylan, in our first couple years. Such a great leader, such a great guy. Um, it's nice to see that, like, as he retires now, I feel like people are starting to give him the recognition he deserves. But, like, we've known, like, for the past few years, like, he was dominant. And guy who's never, going to put up the stats or get the league recognition, but, like, but we know he can, go out there and cover a Tom Schreiber, a Lyle, some of those, like, really athletic, goal scoring right-handers, and he, do his job at a high level. So yeah, so that's Marty, and then Mitch has been a good addition. He obviously had a great first game. Got to practice with him last night and take a lot of reps together, which was a lot of fun. I felt really good about that, and just another leader, a guy who's seen a lot of lacrosse, and yeah, I'm excited to continue to learn from him, and have him be a part of the team. Yeah, we're excited.
Yeah, we were discussing that Marty might have been the. I know losing Chase and losing Kluche was huge to this team, but when Justin Martin announced his retirement, we kind of looked at each other and like that might be the biggest loss on this team. Just knowing, I know he's a quiet defender, but knowing how good he was at shutting down the other team's top defenders, and then the left side looked a little bit shallow as far as just number of bodies you guys had on the left side of the defense. So bringing in Mitch DeSnew, it doesn't quite cover because they're different style players, but it helps quite a bit.
Yeah.
So you are a growing part of this community for sure. You help coach the Junior Bandits. I believe my nephew, I'd get yelled at if I didn't give him some kind of shout out. I believe he's been on your team the last 2 years now. What is it like giving back and being able to give back to a community, especially growing up here? Like other guys can obviously give back, but knowing that you're local and being a part of this community already, what's it like being able to give back in this kind of capacity?
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Like, I do the school programs with a few of the other guys. So we're doing the reading program and the phys ed program, and then obviously Junior Bandit stuff year round. Um, so yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's you show up every day because you look you think of, okay, myself as a kid, like how excited I would be for, a Bandits player to, coach me or come to my school. And like that kind of motivates you to, show up every day and not just show up, but like give your best and give the
Yep.
kids the coaching that they deserve. Like we're not there to collect a paycheck, and we're not there for the money. We're there because we care. We want to see Buffalo lacrosse grow. We want to see kids fall in love with the game, and hopefully accomplish their dreams. And yeah, so it's a lot of fun. And now that I've done it for a couple of years, and to see kids develop, um, as players, as teammates, is cool, because then you have that, like that program aspect, instead of just like, oh yeah, you'll coach this kid 1 year, and then kind of like college football and basketball now. Like those aren't programs anymore. Like
Right. Just one and
guys
move
go to
on.
6 schools in 4 years. Like I don't know how coaches do their job. Like, because when I think of college, I think of a kid going somewhere for 4 years, and continuing to get better each year, and helping the team each year. Um, and like we have that with Junior Bandits, where kids are coming into the program, they're staying into the program, and new kids are coming in. And that's a testament to the older guys who's and Scott Loeffler and Dan Racine, who started this years ago, and to see what it's grown, how much it's grown, and the involvement from kids in the area, and even kids coming from other areas to Buffalo. So it's pretty cool. It's been a lot of fun.
I think that's one area where the NLL has learned a good way to just build a big fan base is through community events and really trying to, like you're saying, like establish a young fan base, but also just help those kids develop. And obviously, they want to go and see their coach out on the field, and I'm sure it's a really cool experience for them to be able to say like, "Oh, Zack Belter is my coach, and there he is on a professional field out there." It's got to be pretty cool to see as well. Uh,
Yeah.
has has coaching given you a different look, or has it grown your lacrosse knowledge, being able to kind of see things from a little bit different vantage point than just a player would typically see it?
Yeah, I think also, coaching with coaches that have coached me has
Okay.
helped a lot too. Um, like I've coached with Darius Kilgore now. I've done clinics with him.
Right.
Randy Mearns is coaching Junior Bandits now, and getting involved in the youth lacrosse community in Buffalo. So coaching with him, and Nico Capron's another one, who was our defensive coordinator at Bonaventure, who's involved in Junior Bandits, and then
Okay.
all the players too. Like I've coached with Ian and Ethan O'Connor, and guys like that, and Chase, and like I learned from them coaching alongside them. Because everyone views the game differently. Everyone has a
Right.
different tree of coaches that they've played for or coached with. Um, so yeah, it's fun. I'm a student of the game. Like I always want to learn. I'm a lacrosse nerd. Anyone I can soak up information from, I do. So
It's always cool seeing the images of Dane and Josh, like the day after the championship, after they're out
hmm.
celebrating, just right back there with the Junior Bandits coaching the next day at like 8 a.m. And it's always wild what you guys are able to handle and to accomplish.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so that's pretty much it. We'll throw one last kind of fun question at you. It's December. It is the holiday season. Do you have a favorite holiday go-to movie or TV special?
Oh boy, go to movie or TV special.
A lot of options out there.
Oh boy, guess I'd go with Home Alone.
All right.
right? That's a Christmas
Yep.
movie. Yeah,
Yes. Yes.
I'm not a big movie watcher. I'll watch some shows here or there, but this time of year is kind of just film time.
I'll say it's a little
Yeah,
busy for you.
yeah,
Home Alone's a great one though. It's a good classic, so we'll take it.
cool.
All right. Thank you, Zach, for joining us on the BSC, and good luck with the rest of your season.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
No problem. We will be back with our regularly scheduled episodes on Monday and Friday, and we will talk to you all then.